DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
So we're live, MJ. Are you going to start or should I start?
I don't know. I think we both could start and then just kind of talk over
alternating words. Good eve. No, that would no. Wait, I screwed it up already. Oh, man, best laid plans, and we had it. So go ahead.
Well, I don't know if you know John or not, but we're not alone tonight.
We aren't. And tonight, for those of you wondering, initially the plan was tonight was the night I get to introduce Megaseg to the world. I was so excited. I was going to show you my bad scratching skills, and bad as in good. But
we forgot to tell him that anytime someone says Megaseg, you have to take a drink. It's like our drinking game.
So instead,
now, tonight was actually supposed to be open question night, but out of the blue, Serato decided to show us the new Serato DJ Pro. And I said, we have to talk about that. And then I thought, well, I have to get a DJ Supafly on because he's been beta testing it forever, and he introduced me to it. And I said, I know there's going to be questions I can't answer, so let's bring someone who has some knowledge on. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ivan Avelos.
Avelos, yeah.
Avelos. I knew I was going to screw that up. Also known as DJ Supafly. You are from the same state as John, right? Minnesota?
Yeah, Rochester. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
Not that far.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have been beta testing the new Serato DJ for how long now? It's been months, right?
Well, I mean, ever since Scratch Live, I've been a beta tester. So it's been quite a very long route for Serato. And I've seen them from the bottom to how they are now. But yes, it's been quite a while. They usually release a few beta updates before they actually release the final release for everybody. Yes.
How long have you had the 2.0?
October, summer in October.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you've had some time with it then.
Yeah, very much.
You get to use it out live anywhere?
I use it all the time. I've been using it. Okay. I got 2 MacBooks. I used it on my 2012 MacBook Retina, and then I just recently made this purchase for the 2017 MacBook Touch, and it's worked flawlessly on both. So no issues for me.
So a couple weeks ago, you opened for some like barely known people that artists we don't know their name. Did you open like first off, like who did you open for? I can't remember their name because they're like nobody known, right?
I did open up for Pitbull, Enrique Iglesias, and CNCO at the Excel Energy Center up in Minneapolis. And yes, I did use the beta version that day. So yes,
that would be one that you would have to have lots of confidence in it to use it on that day, right?
And I actually used my older MacBook just because I had both up and running, and I wanted to make sure, well, not running, but I had it ready so that in case if it did crash, it was able to switch on off to the next one. So yes, yes,
that's cool. Yeah. By now, I don't know like how many of our viewers actually use Serato. I think right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DJ softwares on the computer. Everything from regular Serato to Serato Intro, Serato Lite, Serato Pro, Virtual 7, Virtual 8, and I maybe have Home on there somewhere. So So I've got them all, but I haven't spent as much time as you have with Serato. First off, we're going to try to answer questions that we're asking here, so that you know there are parts of Serato that have changed and parts of Serato that have not changed. So to get the have-nots out of the way, first off, I want to hit the names. Before we do that, let's hit the names. So, and I know at some point I'm going to say intro tonight, but I mean light. So Serato now has split into 2 and 2 only. So there is Serato DJ Pro, which is the new 2.0 with all the stuff we're going to talk about. And then what used to be Serato Intro is now called Serato DJ Lite. So there's Serato DJ Pro and Serato DJ Lite. And we're going to show you both of those tonight. So just that you know that there's those two. And at the end, I do want to get some of your opinions on Scratch and itch users and what your thoughts on what they're going to transition to. So first off, so you know the names. Things that have not changed. You will not need to buy new hardware for these. No, you don't have to buy anything new. You don't have to go out and buy a new controller, new box, new mixer, nothing. It's going to work, okay? Second thing, you do not need to repurchase Serato. Whatever license you currently have, if it's for a single-use controller or if you have the full license, it's going to work. You don't have to pay anything extra. It's yours to use. And the final one, whatever expansion packs you have, they all work. You don't have to go out and buy new, 2.0 expansion packs. Nothing. So whatever you have, it works. And that's the things that have not changed. Okay. There's more things that haven't changed, but that's the main one. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So the things that have changed, I actually asked him to have his computer up so that he's able to share. And we're going to show a little bit what it looks like. Do you have it plugged into hardware right now or not?
I don't have the hardware plugged in.
Okay, that's perfect then. We're going to share the screen, let you see a little bit of it, and let you see the difference between what they had before. If you don't know, when it wasn't plugged into hardware, you could only use one deck. There was no 2 decks. For those of you who use virtual and Tractor, when it's offline or not hooked up to soft hardware, you can have 2 decks, but Serato only allowed 1 before, but now they allow 2. So go ahead and give that a share and show them the difference between the 1 and 2.
You guys see it there?
Okay, yep. That's 1.
Yep.
And that's what you had before. You didn't have a choice. Anything else. So now do the magic with the little button.
So there's a 2 deck right there.
So now you have 2 deck when you're not hooked up to hardware, which before you didn't. So you can practice and do whatever you want to with that. And they have a thing in the center, since you're not hooked up to hardware, like virtual, like those of you who know me that use virtual, it has a fader there that you can just physically move with the mouse. Now Serato does too. Show them that little fader up there, because it's kind of hidden. I was kind of surprised by that right there. There you go. And then down below is the blue area. Let's talk about that. I mean, that gives you drop downs on a couple of things there. Where does it give you now?
This drop down here, it's just to give you the loops and give you the performance pads, which what they call it now.
Mm-hmm. A new thing about the performance pads, now you can do them in the 4x2x4 mode, or the other one. What is the stock one? Do they even have a name for the stock one?
No, they just cues, regular cues.
Yeah. So now you can do it in so that it matches, like if you have like a controller or something, or the 4x8 that's on most of the mixers nowadays, you can have it match that, which I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
How many effects can you grab now on there? Can you set up?
Effects on here, the effects is not an offline option. It's only when it's enabled for whenever the hardware is hooked up.
Okay.
And that's when it allows you to unlock it. But it all depends on your situation. If you actually bought, a lot of the effect plugins and whatnot, so that's different. But you can't access that because they just try to make it seem like it's just a player for 2 decks and that's it. Like you can't access any of the extra features and whatnot until you officially buy the controller, or you officially buy, buy the official
license. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, there are 2 ways to use that. There is a license that you get with a controller that is licensed only to that controller. So if you, like the 7000 I have here, came with that Serato. So that if I were to only have that and in Serato, that license would only work on this controller. It would not work on anything else. But if you get the full Serato license, it'll work on all of them.
Yes.
Just so that you know that. Your thoughts on the offline 2-deck? How usable it is? Usable it is.
It is. When I'm doing like mixtapes, or when I'm doing tours and I'm on anywhere it's traveling, it's definitely a big game changer, because I'm able to tell if a song is actually if it sounds good or not. Is it a mix and whatnot, and I can actually listen to it. There's actually, what's a pretty cool feature about it is they added spacebar was the typical play pause type of control basically on the keyboard. Now they added enter for the right deck. So left is for the left. To control the left deck is spacebar, and then to control the right deck is the enter key. So that allows me to all right, I want to hit it on the 1 and whatnot. So it allows me to start it real quick.
I also found another shortcut with that I didn't know that was there. S and W.
Yep.
S is left deck. W is, I think it's S and deck. S and D or S and W.
Yes. Even when you're in an internal mode, like in Serato, whenever you have your controller hooked up, you can actually use some of those keys as well. You can actually use the numerical keypad on the top, or not on the side, but I'm talking about on the top of the keyboard where it says 1 to 0. You can actually use that, but you got to use the shift lock, which is you got to make sure you got caps locks on. And if you hit 1, you can see I set a key point there. If you hit 6, that's the other side of the deck. So yeah, that definitely is a really cool thing to have, where you can use the keyboard as your controller versus having a controller with you when you're on the plane. Because I've actually worked on music when I'm on the plane, and I didn't have anything to try to mix with. I had to wait till I was off the plane until I get to the gig and do what I thought would be a good mix. But this allows me to actually figure it out if it fits or if it doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, then I'm able to delete the song off the crate. So
right. I want to stick with the keys that we're working with right now. And up at the top, I have a new help drop down menu, and we want to look at a couple of things in there. One of the things in there is ones that shows you a shortcut of everything. So when he does the help menu drop down, and there's one there that will show you all the shortcuts.
So there's there, and then show shortcut keys.
Yeah. So there, if you don't know what they are, they have that. And this menu I think is really cool. One of them I've been playing with just to see how well it does. But the search thing down at the bottom, you see, go back to the drop down menu. All right, and the search right there, when you do a search for that, it actually takes you to Serato's database, opens up a browser and goes to that. And I found it to be really good. I really tried to test it a lot and see what it could come up with. And I felt that it did very good in getting you information on how-tos that way.
Yeah. I guess what Serato's trying to push is with the Lite version, especially if you don't, it's a free software, it gives people a chance to try it out and see if they actually like it. It's not necessarily where, you have to purchase the license and try it out. From my experience, Serato has always had their software free, but you either had to buy the enabled hardware to make it work, or you had to buy the license to make it work. And this is actually, I think, a big jump for Serato, that they allow this two-deck offline player for people to try out. There could be some kid that's starting out how to DJ, doesn't know how to DJ, gets this software, and hey, I've seen people do jazzy jazz routine just using keyboards.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of crazy. I'm like, wow, maybe this could open up a whole opportunity for them to have other people try it out. So.
Right. Also in that drop down is tutorials. So that gets you to their video. I actually think that takes you straight to the YouTube, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have channels and playlists that they send you to. So yes.
Yeah. So I think that's a nice little add-on. Especially we're going to show when we're done here, I'm going to go ahead and show the Serato Lite, let you guys see that, and you will see, like I said, for someone grabbing that and being able to grab it for free and test it to see if they like it, just someone just learning, it's a good first step. It really is. Yeah. So let's take I want to. I did try this earlier, and I was going to show it here. because I have Lite open and not full. But just like he can go 1 or 2 deck offline because I have it hooked up to the 7000, I can go 2 or 4 deck on this also. Really, I mean, it's just as quickly as he clicks 1, 2, you click 2, 4. So that's really in there too. Let's talk. This was something we can't really show yet. So let's go back to you. Is that this is something very, very new for Serato is 64-bit. Yes. So come back to the camera so we can talk to you.
And
do the stop share.
Stop share.
All right. So 64-bit, for those of you who don't know, it's got to kind of do 2 things. Prior to that, 32-bit will only let you access up to 4 gig of memory. Okay. That's it. And with the 64-bit, you can go past that. So that both gets you a bigger database and a more stable database, I feel too. Have you noticed any difference with that?
A big difference, actually. Running these MacBooks, of course, them being 64-bit processors, definitely there's a big performance jump. I usually carry, some portable hard drives, 4 terabyte hard drives, and it actually loaded much more faster than how they were before. Definitely with when I'm doing videos as well, when I'm mixing videos, the performance, you can see the CPU meter. It used to like be in the reds and whatnot when mixing, HD videos. Now you barely see it jump. It's a big difference. It took Serato quite a long time to, because they had to actually rewrite the software from the beginning. And the whole thing was because Apple is considering not using anymore the 32-bit
emulator.
How do you say it? Yeah, they don't. They're kind of just. They told everybody, hey, 32-bit is done. We're moving on to 64-bit, so you need to upgrade your software. You're not going to be on the next operating system. It's not going to work and whatnot. So they definitely pushed it because there's still some things that there's some bugs that not necessarily right now that I say all laptops have, but it's because of Apple being setting restrictions on certain software applications because of their firewalls and whatnot. But actually, I haven't encountered anything with my MacBook. Windows, I don't use Windows. I know there's an AMDs have issues with Serato. It's something that I think I've heard. And AMDs, considering they're 64 bits, I think a lot of people are going to be happy now that they can actually use Serato with their AMD processor laptops.
MJ, are you seeing the chat? Did we lose your microphone?
Oops, click that. There we go.
There we go. Click that other one.
Click that other one, yeah. I had clicked off because I had to cough, and I didn't want to cough in everybody's ear, and I forgot to click it back on. What was I saying that was important?
64-bit. 64-bit.
Yeah, I used it on, like I said, I ran Windows, and I didn't have any problem with it. This is the other thing that I felt is better about it too, that I feel it looks so crisp and HD now compared to before, and that's just my opinion.
Yes. Definitely with the newer laptops that have Retina or UHD mode, ultra high definition mode, it looks way cleaner. Definitely, I can tell a big difference. This is my HD monitor that I'm always running. I would hate seeing, like the old pixelated fonts, and it just didn't look crisp as clear as it did now. And once I got the beta, I stuck with it just because it looks so crystal clear. It definitely is a big, for my eyes especially. I wear glasses most of the time, and it definitely is a big eye popper where you can actually see more colors. You can actually see the text. You don't have to, scroll and actually wink at trying to read all the font. Now with the whole Retina thing, it definitely makes a big difference.
Right. Speaking of views, one of the things that they said they changed, and I guess I can tell looking at it, I'm not really sure, is that they said that they put more padding around the song names in the menu. Like there's supposedly to be a little bit more room so they're not so crushed. Do you feel there is? Because I know there's 2 modes to give you more space, but they said that just in general, it's kind of a little bit more spacious so that the songs aren't crushed together.
Yeah, I mean, it depends because you can actually zoom in and zoom out from the font, from the title. So
go ahead and show them.
Sure. I'll go ahead and let me share my screen here. Share my screen.
Because there are many people who are vision challenged. I'm not one of them because I have people half my age walk up to my computer and go, "How can you read that?" And I'm like, "How can you not?"
and this is how I keep it. I'm sure you guys can see it. So there is a way. If you go into the setting icon, the preferences, there's a library text size here, and that's where I like to keep it kind of in the middle. If you can kind of see, I'll lower it down, and the font is super tiny. I mean, that's hard for me to, I can still read it, but it's still crystal clear that if I wear my glasses right now, I can see it. And then there's another way where you can actually make it bigger. So I'll push it off, and there you go. For people that
I can see that.
For people that don't have their glasses on with them. So yeah, I usually keep it in the middle, and that's good enough for me. So there's that. Or there's keyboard shortcuts. Again, if you want to know how to do it, you go to the help, and definitely in the shortcut keys, it'll show you, I think it's Command minus, Command plus. You can see there, I'm doing it just using my keyboard. Yep. So I don't have to actually have to go into the preferences. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Show the button to the right of the blue crates, where you can just see that where it changes. Yeah, so show them that. So you can do, if you needed to go that direction, that gives you your what's that called, Outmart and different things like that. Bigger. So that gives you an option there too. But like I said, if you haven't seen it, it really does. I really do feel it is so much crisper. I mean, it just, I don't know. I just feel it is. There were some color changes too. Do you think anybody's complaining about like the blue and stuff that is a slight color change?
Not necessarily. I mean, it just looks brighter.
Yeah.
Brighter blues, and of course the biggest one is the logo change.
Anybody complain about? Have you heard anybody complain about that?
No, not.
A lot of guys tend to be, most of the time they like things the way they are. You know, other than a few. I mean, I'm not saying, I hate to generalize. I so apologize for generalizing, but yeah.
No, I haven't noticed a big change. I guess not even in the waveforms. They kind of still look the same. I mean, they pop up a little bit more with the colors and whatnot. When you're running it, of course, it looks a little bit, I mean, smoother as well on your screen. The people that have the high resolution screens can definitely see how much smoother it is as well.
And with Pro, if you have it plugged in somewhere with Pro, you're still going to get the choices of vertical or horizontal or long view.
Yeah. Yep. With the offline version, it's just a horizontal view. But then once you plug in the enabled mixer or controller, whatever you have, then you're able to change the view, which will be up here somewhere.
I might show that at the end when I get past because I have it plugged in, so we can do that.
Okay.
So go on. Let's take a jump off of that and go to Lite. Again, it's no longer intro; it's now Lite. So we've all, I'm saying that because I have to learn to say that every time I talk about it or start typing, you know, it's not intro anymore. So Lite is basically the same thing, but basicer. So this is Lite. You have a little green logo as opposed to the blue, so you're getting some colorization, different things. You only have 4 cue points available on the Lite mode. I almost said intro right there. You only have 4 cue points available. Minimal loop stuff, minimal effects. I think if I'm correct on this, you get 4 effects. Like you can stack only 4 audio effects in the Lite mode. But everything else is pretty much the same. You still get the drop downs of the help menus. You get pretty much everything. All the files, all the everything. It's pretty much the same, but it gives you an option to be able to do stuff offline. And that's about it. So you get like I said, also you get the changeover, so you can see them or hide them, whatever you want to do there. But it's I know, to me, like I said, I thought this was cool that they did this because I think it's going to get a lot more people interested in it who never wanted to try it now that they can. So with Serato Lite, you have it's also free to download. It also has practice mode, 64-bit, high res, choice in, it's a checkbox in the help menu is what it is. And it actually is for both of them. There's two checkboxes in there. When you go into the help menu here, not the help menu, but the
settings.
The settings, you can see that there are different ones. His has a lot more tabs, but you have the high res check button right there. And what was the other check button on yours? There was two there, the high res and something else. There was a checkbox for.
Here, I'll show my screen so you guys can
see. That they talked about. I can't remember what the other one was.
So under my
you can still access your iTunes library and everything. There's the high res for that one. Yep.
There it is, and the performance pad Q layout. So
that's
I think
what it was. Yeah.
So if I deselect it and I go back, it gives you the old, how it used to be before, people that kind of was used to that already.
Yeah.
But, with the newer controllers and everything having that 2x4 look, now you can actually have it back or have the new look and whatnot for it. So.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess one of the things too that I didn't mention about the offline player, I mean, you can actually work on loops. You can save them however you wanted to save them. I know there's people that have performances, they want to save their loops. They want to their specific song. There's a part in the song they actually want to mix out to, and they want to make sure that that part is saved. So when they're at the show, they know it's ready to go. One of the cool things about this too is there's sync available. I don't know if people, I'm not going to touch that sync option, but I know there's people out there that use sync. But there's also the option of messing with the BPM manually yourself by just clicking on the BPM and just going up or down. And that changes the BPM, as you can see. You can do it on both decks.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
And when you're mixing, I'll try to try to show you here. Start from the beginning. And I'll just play something here. So there's that side. That side's playing. I can either hit sync or I can manually match the BPM, which is right there. And I'll go back to my first cue point right there. And I'll play it there. And you can see they're matching. Everything's good. And if I wanted to, I can just mix it in. I don't want to play the audio. I mean, I just kind of showing you the visual part of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is good.
I don't want to get a strike on YouTube. So definitely that's how easy it is. You're mixing back and forth songs, with your saved loop right there. As you can see, I accessed it right away. There's also the beat jump markers here as well. I don't know. I use this quite a feature a lot. I'm glad that they kept it, and it's cool for when I'm talking or whatnot. I want to keep the beat going. I'll just forward or backwards just to keep the beat going. Definitely, this is a big. What I consider the offline player having is going to be a big deal for Serato. It's going to help out, again, the people, not just for the people that are used to, working with the Serato, but with their hardware plugged in. It's going to help out the people that are learning how to mix, how, they want to know more about the program, about DJing. It's going to open up a whole new world to those type of people that, they want to try it. So definitely a big game changer.
In the menu on that, in the sync mode, since we're going to talk about that for a second, was there always the simple sync and the smart sync, or is that new to 2.0?
No, it was always there.
Okay.
It was always there.
Wasn't sure on that one there. Yeah.
I'll show you here. User preferences. Here it is. So it's still there. Not sure how people use it. I always leave the beat grids on because I like to see these beat grids here. When I'm mixing, it helps me count, when you're doing certain mixes and whatnot. So I like seeing those numbers on there. Not a lot of people do that. A lot of people tend to just turn it off and, be like, hey, I'm a big DJ. I don't need sync.
Yeah.
So what's one of the cool things, I mean, I don't use sync, but what it allows you to do is you can see there's no, the beat grids are gone now. So I can't see, when, the fourth bar, fifth bar, sixth bar starts. So with me, it actually helped out a lot to have simple sync on. You don't have to have sync, I usually, if I'm using a controller, I tend to like meaty that button to do something else on the controller.
Right.
Than to hit sync, because if I accidentally hit it. And you can see now it's got the numbers to the bars. It's a 4-beat bar. So there you go. It allows you to mix better. So that's pretty cool. That's why I like using it. So I know I'm kind of paying attention to the comments or what people are asking about. Someone said something about Serato or Virtual DJ having a search function. I don't necessarily think that Serato works a little bit different than Virtual DJ. I started out with Virtual DJ, so I know how it works and whatnot. But it's been a while for me since I've actually touched it. The search function, I don't think that has changed. It actually, to me, it's how, you know, it's normal, it's basic. Just type in whatever you're searching for in a search field, and I don't know exactly how people go into detail on using it, but
yeah, I think what that they're talking about is virtual lets you get really specific. I mean, for go ahead and show the drop down of the search and let show them of the different types. You know, you can choose what you want it to be within that search criteria or not. That gives you that, so that's there too.
Yeah, it's right there as you can see it. That's there, definitely there.
I think that's what they meant in the questions. I'm not sure. If there was a different question, let us know.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah. Let's talk about things that are missing. One that I've seen it mentioned 3 times in the chat so far is day mode.
Day mode.
Which again, this is my opinion. I feel that since they just released it to this version to the public to try, I have a feeling it's going to be added soon.
Maybe, you know, you never know. I guess they had limitations from what it sounded like because of the 32-bit app and only being able to use 4 gigabytes, you know, of memory. And if you were to load more and more and more, it's going to overload the computer and it's going to crash the program, which looks bad on them. So I don't know. It all depends on Serato and what they decide to do. There's always they consider this all the time when there's people asking about new features. They actually have a feature submit request on their website, on the forums. The forums are very active, just like Serato Virtual DJ. Definitely, if you have any type of suggestions, go there. Let them know. There's always moderators looking at you know, what people suggest, and I've seen that quite a lot actually. That people have been requesting that as well. But on this new version, it's not there. No, sorry.
Yeah. The other thing was play count that a lot of people.
Yeah, no.
It's not there. But go ahead on down below, like where the song header menu is. Right click and show the different things that you can. I don't know what it is for Mac, but it's right click like on up above that and
control click.
Yeah, no. Control click as into like.
Yeah, like on the header of each column.
The header of each column. Oh,
yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
So it's right click.
And you can see what different columns. Again, you can your search, genre, grouping, key, etc., like that. So depending on how you mix year, those can be put in there, and that's where the play count is in on other programs, but not on here.
Yeah.
I find the play count so freaking useful. It's not even funny. I kind of build my database about that. So, you know, some people don't understand the need for it. Other people couldn't live without it. So
yeah, I mean, again, I've heard that feature as well. People submitting that, and I actually want to see that. I myself would like it as well, because then I get to know, you know, what songs I'm actually playing the most. So I kind of just go back and see most of the times when you play a song, it stays color blue or gray, dark grayish. So right. I kind of get to, I don't know if you can see here. So yeah, these are the songs that I've actually played. And I know that I've played it, you know, my last gig or whatnot, but it doesn't show me a play count. So that's another feature that I think that it'll be pretty cool for them to add.
All right. So they clarified the search question. Rick says, we meant that Serato search doesn't search through all folders and crates, no matter where you're at. Virtual, you search and it searches the whole computer. I know with virtual, you set your limits too, so you can put some folders that doesn't search. But how about Serato with that?
No, the way the structure works for the song management, the file management is a little bit different than Virtual DJ. I know Virtual DJ tends to work on a file, you know, like the Explorer type of function.
Give that as an example, because that's perfect. Yeah,
and it's a little bit different with Serato. With Serato, it doesn't give you, like, let's say you have a folder, right? You create this folder, and you load songs into this folder, you actually have to load those same songs back into Serato. It's a little bit tricky, but what I always tend to do is, let's say this was last week's crate that I had downloaded. I'll download a new crate. I'll rename that. I'll download a new folder, and I'll drag it in here and I'll rename it, and then I'll drag it under like reggaeton, and I'll just rename it something like reggaeton 2. So it creates a sub crate. So now I'm able to actually tell the difference between the two. Like, okay, this was last week's. This is this week's, and this is one of the things that makes it a little bit different. That you have to manually manage the library on Serato. It's a little bit different with Virtual DJ. I understand it's like you search for something, and it actually searches your whole computer. No, this does not do that. This goes by what you manually set.
Yeah, so I think that's a good explanation there of the two differences, to where a lot of people, forgive me for saying this, but I don't know how Megaseg does it.
Just like that.
But a lot of those, a lot of those are built off of file systems. So the person would go in and set up a folder in their computer called something, and then when you looked at all your music on Virtual or some of the other ones, you would see it as folders. But with Serato, you have those as they're still in that folder, that file system, because there is technically a file system. But once you get to Serato, you kind of have to create that the way you want it to be, and so that's a little bit extra work. But once it again goes back to something I talked about a few weeks ago with the virtual folders or the crates, to where you're kind of creating your own filing system. So
yes, yeah, that's what makes it a big difference between the two. What distinguishes the both is that you have to manually add the folders to Serato, versus with Virtual DJ. You kind of have to go and, it's a file structure system. So you can actually browse through your computer. You can do it as well with Serato. You can go, into your Explorer, where your library, where you think your music is at. It's going to go somewhere and just add something, pretend that's a crate. That's a folder with all the music, and add it as a crate, and boom, there it is. And whatever music you had in there, you have to do this. Now, if you added more songs to that folder, you have to either redrag it and redo it again, or you have to make a whole new folder and make a whole new crate. So yes, it's a whole different.
Yeah. That's a tough thing unless you really put your hands on that. That's almost a tough thing to explain in a way.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
John, just curiously, how does Megaseg? Does it read it as a file system, or does it read it like this, to where you kind of create?
Very much like this. Yes, you have to import everything and
because Megaseg is a Mac only too, so you're going to be able. I'm guessing you can read off your iTunes libraries with that also.
That is correct.
Yes, yeah. That's what this one also does. Reads off your iTunes libraries and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yes, still does it.
Which Virtual does too, because my friend Ed loaded Virtual a while back to do karaoke, and when he did the scan, he couldn't believe that it picked up everything. He said it picked up all my iTunes, it picked up everything. I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was surprised that it wouldn't, because that's a. I think as the future goes on with the way music is being streamed as opposed to download, and with iTunes saying that they're going to go to all streaming music, I wonder how that's going to affect that little parameter within the DJ world, the iTunes library parameter, if they go to all streaming only in the future.
Yeah, and there's big licensing deals that they have to go through, and they have to, add that plug-in or whatever it is to make the software work a little bit better. It's definitely going to be a big game changer with the 64-bit, because again, they can add so many other things and put less stress on the CPU, and it's definitely going to be a big thing. So. Yes.
All right, so let's talk about people who don't like change. And I have many friends, and I'm not calling her out because she talks about it. Shani and other one of my friends.
No, we don't want to use real names, so we need to protect the innocent.
DJ Chi Town. They still like to use Scratch. Do you think that this, which is I'm not cutting on that or her or anybody. Like I said, I have lots of friends that still use Scratch all the time, and a few people that still have Itch. Do you think that this will pull them over? Do you think it's that much of a positive all these things that we talked about, do you think it'll really get those people to go, I'm going to let, wash my hands and let go and move on?
Yeah, I think so, because definitely with the Scratch, you didn't have all these plugins. You didn't have effects. You didn't have all these plugins for the samplers, and you didn't have many things, as how it had it before. Scratch was just a simple software. It was just 2 decks and a file structure for your crates and whatnot. That was it. And that's why a lot of people like it, because it was so simple. It was less stress on their computer, and they're probably running old school laptop MacBooks and whatnot, because a lot of people tend to stick with the older MacBooks because of the whole that people don't like the limit on the newer MacBooks, where it's only like 128 gigabytes versus people that use the 2 terabytes, or they modify their laptop to add a second hard drive to it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people stick with the older MacBooks, a lot of DJs, a lot of, older DJs, just because it makes it easier. It's kind of like that same ideology as, okay, back in the day, if you were going to carry all these crates to a gig, it's the same thing. They're using it in the digital world. Are you going to carry, 2 laptops or 2 hard drives that are built into your laptop? Are you going to, what I'm saying? It's the same ideology that people, they tend to stick to what they feel is more comfortable and what they think is more simpler. But I'm not necessarily, generalizing, because it's a great software, and compatibility, I cannot say the word, compatibility issues, it works great on the older computers. And then with this, definitely is going to change the game. Like I said, it's because of the whole software thing. I've seen a few DJs that I know that are strictly Scratch Live, and after using the new Serato DJ, they've actually made the switch. They said, you know what, this is actually worth making the switch. And I'm actually running the latest version of the Apple Mac OS. I'm using High Sierra. So
that was a question I'm sure many people are asking, compatibility, because they have had so much issues with update compatibility.
Yep. So I know that for sure, that that this works with the latest version. I have friends of mine that always ask me, hey, I haven't updated because I'm scared. They're scared that they're gonna have drivers issues. It's gonna crash on them, and most of the time it won't crash because of the software. It usually just crashes because they're carrying an external hard drive or something that messes with the whole system. And you got to remember, 32-bit runs on 4 gigabytes. So if you're running video, if you're running all these things at once in the 32-bit mode, it's definitely going to crash your software. So you need definitely, I say, upgrade, because try it. You can always go back.
You can try it for free. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a free software. You can try it. The only big difference is when you get the drivers from, I guess, Pioneer and Denon and whoever makes all these controllers. They've already. You haven't heard the official word yet, but I know for sure that if Serato mentions that it works with all their hardware, that means it's going to work with all their hardware.
Yeah.
They necessarily didn't make lots of changes to it. They just added like a powerful turbo engine underneath
right.
it, so people understand that, hey, they're going to come up with some bigger stuff in the future.
Yeah, like 2 minutes after the video came out, I saw Newmark post a thing with all of their things listed is compatible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It was just whoop.
Yeah. Rain as well. Rain did the they did it as well, and I know Pioneer as well. So they're all making sure people are safe and it's okay to upgrade. So yes.
Question from the chat room about autoplay. Have you used it at all? I've never used autoplay in Serato ever.
So I have crates like that I do in weddings, when there's like a reception or something like that, where I have slow music or some jazz music or something like that. I have a crate just there sitting with it, and that's what I use it for. I load up the first song, hit autoplay, and then it automatically plays.
Is there any adjustability with Pro in that, as opposed to previous versions that didn't have adjustability? Like when they cue in, when they cue out, anything like that?
No,
it's the basic fade across still.
Yeah. Okay. Once the whole file is, the whole song is done and over, it switches over. So there is no changes on that. So
cool. We are almost out of time. Any last questions from the chat room? Shout them out. John, do you have any questions?
Just turn a microphone on. Sorry.
Yeah, I learned that earlier the hard way.
Yeah, well, you guys were chatting so much, and I didn't want to, be wrestling rappers. So Supafly, now this isn't your what we're looking at for that screen. That's not your performance computer, is it?
This is my latest computer. It's hooked up to my MacBook Touch.
Okay, because I think kind of a cool show would be at some point in time is to really dig into the music management and how that works, because that's a big question we get coming in, and I know I would be interested in seeing how you've got everything put together, and it's probably much more elaborate.
Yeah,
but
I have it plugged into the hardware here, so go ahead and talk, and I'm going to share with it plugged in. Let them see. I'm going to just kind of switch modes around. You can talk about it while I'm switching stuff around.
Just moving that. See, I think the music management side of it would be really neat. We should do a night where we also can play a couple of music or play some music and such in the background, so you can demonstrate a couple of because there was a button you were talking about where you said it was where when you're making an announcement you needed to like add some additional beats to.
Yeah, that's the beat jump. I showed that a couple weeks ago. Hey, go ahead and tell them about it.
Is that the same as what?
Yeah, I don't know if does the S9 or any of the mixers have dedicated buttons for beat jump?
No, but you can always media it. Like, you can media it to whatever you want. So that's another cool feature that I think Serato did. I think in their last not necessarily the last one, but when they added the whole MIDI functionality, Scratch Live you can't MIDI. So that's another part that, like I said, because it was so much stress on the computer with the software. So they upgraded it, and then with this, then yeah, you can actually whatever. I have it on my mixer. I have it on my turntables. My turntables are MIDI, so I have a certain buttons here. I use the reloops, so there's certain things that I actually MIDI to the computer for those beat jumps. When I'm talking, when there's certain speeches I have to make or whatever it is, I'm on the mic, I'm talking, and the beat's running on, the intro part of the song, how it's usually really quiet, no chorus or no a cappella singing behind it. And when I notice that the song's getting closer to where it's gonna, start singing, I'll just hit a button to beat jump, 4 bars back. That way I can keep talking and, I can say, all right, hey, let's keep the music going and music rolling and just use the beat jump as a way to introduce the song. So
forward also if it comes up short, like so you don't jump through, because like I said, I use them too. I'm surprised sometimes how often I use them. We did a thing a couple weeks ago where I did a mix and I'm like, I was using them and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I am jumping.
And you can customize the beat jump controls too to how many beats you want it to jump forward or back.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's pretty cool.
Any other questions? I'm gonna go back to the chat.
I think we're just about out of time.
Cool. We definitely are going to have you back, dude. For those of you who are interested to find out more about Supafly, where do they go to find you?
I'm at everywhere.
And I don't mean physically. Don't not give them your home address.
We're all going to Rochester next week, and we'll be there.
Hey, yeah. I'm on Instagram. I'm mostly more on Instagram. I like to post a lot of the stuff that is happening more on Instagram. So Instagram.com/DJ Supafly with a U. You can kind of see that my girlfriend made that sign back there. So
sweet.
Props to her for doing that. And it's with the UPAFOY. Facebook. I'm not really the Facebook type of person. I'm trying to make my own videos on YouTube and all that. So I do have a channel going. But yeah, I think Instagram is probably where you find more of the stuff that I'm doing. So yes.
Are you playing anywhere in Minneapolis on a regular basis, or are you just all over on the road?
I'm on a lot of private gigs. I used to before, and then I noticed that you make more money doing the mobile stuff. So I started, investing on some gear. I got the whole trussing system. I go on tour as well. Water Dash is one of the companies that I work for as well.
Nice.
The guy is actually based off here in Rochester, so he does a lot of tours all across country. Ragnar as well. Doing a lot of tours with Ragnar as well. Same guy that runs Water Dash lives here in Rochester. Ragnar, and just basically a lot of proms and weddings in the area, because Rochester's, I consider it a small city. It's not a very big town, and for me, with the whole DJing thing, and there's no record stores here, and I had to go digital somehow. So this is how I ended up doing it, just going through the internet and learning how to DJ. So yeah.
Cool. Very neat.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're definitely going to have you come back and do some more stuff. And again, when we do our, if we do another one of those big group chats, he got on last time and showed some of his skills. Very cool. So we're definitely going to have you back for some more. And thank you so much for coming and simplifying this for us.
You're welcome. And I did want to mention though too that for those that are still running on the older Windows computers, there is also a 32-bit version of Serato DJ 2.0. A lot of people don't know this.
Oh.
They're not advertising it everywhere and whatnot. So you go to Serato's website and it automatically detects the computer you're using. And if you're using the correct computer, it allows you to download it. If not, there's actually an option to actually show that there is a 32-bit version of Serato. So it still works. You just won't have, that processing power of how how you expect it to work. But I tried it, and 32-bit version works for me as well. But like I said, right now, this is the beginning of Serato DJ Pro. And later on in the future, it's probably going to require so much processing power that's another reason why they make the jump to 64.
Cool.
Yeah.
John, take us home.
All right. Thank you guys for watching out on Facebook or YouTube. We'll be back in about 5 minutes with our next show. We're going to go from talking DJ and music and software. We're going to be going to lighting with Jeremy Breck. Thanks for watching.